Now, the Hunt Palmer Show.
A magic beyond anything you could ever imagine.
You are now listening to the Hunt Palmer Show. Brought to you by Sagrera Farms on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Locking down the middle of the day.
You really think that's the best idea?
Live from the Raising Cane studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
It's quite a piece of work.
Hour 2, Thursday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Just got a press release to kick off the hour, briefly. We'll get into some Kellen Moore sound here. LSU women's basketball is going to play UConn in Bridgestone Arena in Nashville on December 20th. So if you want to do a little Christmas in Music City, LSU, UConn, Gino, Kim, right there at Bridgestone Arena on December the 20th. So that should be a heck of a showdown. And I like Kim stepping out in the non-conference. Too many 121 to 51s or 121 to 31s in some cases. Go play UConn. I like that. So LSU and UConn women December 20th in Nashville. Let's talk some Saints. Kellen Moore met with the media today. The Saints will have the day off tomorrow, but he met with the media today to kind of recap camp. And quite honestly, a lot of the talk today was about Barrion Brown. We had talked about him extensively yesterday and a little bit with Luke today, so we'll avoid a little bit of that in what Kellen Moore had to say. I'm interested in a couple of other young players on this team. The first being the left tackle, Kelvin Banks, who had a really nice rookie year. He wasn't an all-pro and not necessarily a Pro Bowler, but a guy that played at left tackle and held his own last year. And now he's entering year 2, and you expect a jump from him, but that jump comes at a cost in training camp because you're dealing with Chase Young. So what about Kelvin Banks as a coachable left tackle? Kellen Moore spoke about their first-round pick from last year.
I think Kelvin just absorbs everything in such a positive way. You don't see a lot of the same mistakes. If he makes a mistake, okay, I get to learn from it. He's got an awesome offensive line staff that he gets to work with. He got David Edwards next to him that's seen everything in this league that can be a resource. One of my favorite things was a couple days ago in the one-on-ones, him and Chase went a couple times in a row against each other. And as soon as they were done, they were sitting there talking to each other, like giving each other feedback. And I'm like, that's all you can dream of, in these situations, to watch those guys, trying to help each other and get better.
That's something we talked about with Luke in hour 1, and I think it's great. When you've got someone of Chase Young's stature in the league who's been an elite player early in his career, always had every single measurable and ability that you could want, and has been a productive player. He was very good for the Saints last year. He wasn't TJ Watt. He wasn't the defensive player of the year, but he's a really good player. And to have him helping your second-year left tackle is obviously a really, really good thing. And it's one thing to help by just the reps, down in, down out at practice, and it's another thing to help post-rep and be like, this is what I see, this is what this guy used to do, this is what I've seen in the NFL from left tackles over the years. And I think that's awesome. And Kellen Moore spoke to Chase Young and help speeding that develop up of Kelvin Banks.
No doubt. I think our edge rushers, we have size and length, and it's a really talented group. And so our tackles get challenged each and every day with these guys. And so what I love is just the communication that these guys are doing to help each other get better. I mean, I think that's the goal for all of us, is everyone's trying to get better. And when we have everyone aligned, trying to help each other, raise the floor, raise everyone, that creates a really good, kind of ecosystem.
We talked in the summer about how the Saints don't have anyone on their roster ranked in the top 10 at a single position in the National Football League by ESPN. Subjective ranking, but I don't have beef with it. Like, I think Eric McCoy is one of the 10 best centers and potentially interior offensive lineman in the NFL, but he hasn't proven that the last 2 years. And if there's anybody else on that list that you have a huge issue with, I think there's probably some inherent bias there. I don't think that there's a slam dunk top 10 player at his position on the Saints roster. So you got to look at where can they come from, because if the Saints are going to go try to win a division and then try to compete at the top of the NFC over the next couple of years, you're going to have some stars on your team. Where are those most likely to come from? Well, probably your first-round picks, right? And Kelvin Banks is one of those. So if you're going to see this team ascend to the level we'd like to see them ascend to, then you're going to have some of these guys become stars. And Kelvin Banks becoming that would be a huge, huge deal. And obviously, we have high hopes for last year's draft class that really showed some stuff last year. Of course, we're talking about Banks in that number. Of course, we're talking about Jonas Sanker in that number. But we're also talking about Quincy Riley in that number as a guy that needs to show up and be an impactful player at the corner. And we heard he had an interception today, and Kellen Moore talked about his early camp in year 2.
Yeah, I think Quincy's done a nice job. Yeah, I think, again, for those guys, it's just consistent play after play, day after day. That's the key part of this. You play hard jobs out there on the red line and outside the numbers. And so there's going to be occasionally a ball caught in front of you, and it's how you respond after that, and you just keep battling. And I think that's what you love about Quincy is he doesn't back down from anything. He just keeps going. And so he's had a really nice camp.
I'm not going to rubber stamp this take. It's a tepid take in terms of my intensity. I could see Quincy Riley becoming a really, really good cornerback. Like, I could see that. Based on the flashes you saw as a rookie. He got beat sometimes, but there were some flashes where he was around the ball, where he wasn't afraid to stick his nose in there, where he was running stride for stride. And that's as a rookie playing one of the most difficult positions on the field in the NFL. You figure year 2, year 3, year 4 of this guy, he could blossom into something. I'm not 100% committed that he is going to do it. I could see it. Another guy they need to come along, and it's getting late on that front, but you still have time, is Kool-Aid McKinstry, who also had an interception today, and that's the other side of this thing. Kellen Moore talked about Kool-Aid.
Yeah, it looked like it just came up a little short in a throwaway situation, and Kool-Aid made a great play. So defense is able to make a couple plays. I think those are big highlight moments. Guys are able to make turnovers in the red zone. Those are huge plays for our defense.
And that was one I sensed in the bite that Kellen, his offensive side came out there. It just felt like he was a little cranky because we talked to Luke Johnson in the first hour about that play. It was in the red zone, and Shuck was trying to throw the ball away, and he didn't throw it away far enough, and Kool-Aid made a play on it. And that's some athleticism and defense, and it's a misplay on the offensive part. And I sensed in Kellen's tone there, he's like, throwaway came short. And like everybody's got their side of the ball that is their baby. Kellen Moore is quite obviously an offensive guy, and I don't think he loved that. But if you're a defensive guy, you love Kool-Aid making a play on the ball. And it's great to hear from that perspective that McKinstry and Riley both had picks today at camp. Yeah, that's a negative for Shuck. No question about it. Everything that happens out there in a scrimmage where you're scrimmaging yourself is a negative for one side of the ball and a positive for one side of the ball. But those are two guys that need to come along, and for them to have some positives, I think was a very, very good thing. So hopefully those two guys are coming along there for the Saints on the outside. Last thing I wanted to get to was the Day 7 medical update. This was not a overly long bite, which is a good thing, but Kellen Moore updated on some of the health issues through a week in camp.
All right, so a couple guys didn't finish practice with injuries. We'll just get an update on that with Chris Rumpf with an ankle, Devin Neal with a hammy. So those guys weren't able to finish practice, but we'll check on that. And then we had a couple guys that are just kind of day-to-day as we kind of come out of these last couple padded days. Christian Miller with the toe, Jay Wright with the shoulder, and Silver with the calf. And then Alvin had kind of we just gave him a rest day today as we kind of maintain him through training camp.
Look, as camp injury updates go, that's pretty positive. Do I want Jeremiah right there? Yeah, I'd like him to play. Would I like Devin Neal to be out there? I'd love it if he were out there. Christian Miller, does he need to speed up his development now that you've got Brian Brzee out for the season? Sure, but nobody there is getting carted off the field. Nobody there is a definitive significant injury. You just had a couple of body parts listed and a rest day for Kamara. So again, we're gonna be despondent when negative things happen from an injury perspective, and we certainly talked about Brian Brzee that next day. Why not, when you get a relatively positive update, go, all right, that's pretty good. Keep working. You got a day off tomorrow. Those guys can get off their feet tomorrow if need be, get some treatment if need be, and then hopefully when Saturday rolls around, those guys are ready to get back out. And I'm sure that all of them will not, but it didn't sound like anybody was going to miss 3 to 6 to 10 to the whole season. This is a deal where everybody seems to be on the straight and narrow, and that's a good thing. Soft tissue injuries in training camp are just such a bummer, and they can derail things. We've seen Saints injuries over the last 3 years just be brutal. So when you get a positive update from Kellen Moore that doesn't have a significant amount of real injuries, it's a good thing. The last guy that wasn't mentioned there that we talked about in hour number one is of course Kendre Miller, who just needs to be out on the practice field. And if he's not over the course of the next week and change, you got an uphill battle to try to make this roster. That's just the way that it is. So good stuff from the Saints today. Sound like there's some real positive developments, not a lot of negative on the injury front, and they'll get a day off and they'll get back after it on Saturday. If you want to read some Saints content, I cannot recommend Ross Jackson's practice reports and observations enough. He is as detailed as anybody on that beat when it comes to what goes on in the practice field. So if you want to read them, and I know y'all are because I see the numbers on the back end of the site, go check that out for free on LouisianaSports.net. And you can always find our Saints stuff here on the Hunt Palmer Show at Hunt on Saints, wherever you find your podcast, of course, on YouTube as well. Let's transition back to the LSU Fighting Tigers. What am I looking for at 6:35 tonight when LSU hits the practice field? I'll tell you about it coming up next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Fabry Chevrolet GMC, FabryChevrolet.com, FabryChevrolet.com. They wanted to make sure that I told y'all that if you're looking for a pre-owned vehicle, they've got pre-owned vehicles to fit any budget. I tell you about the new deals that they've got, and they've got great ones throughout the month of August if you're looking especially for Silverados or Sierras on the truck front. But if you're looking for a pre-owned vehicle, Fabry Chevrolet GMC has got them on the lot. You can check them out at FabryChevrolet.com. Sort by pre-owned, and then you can sort by mileage. You can sort by pricing. You can sort by make and model to see if they have the exact model that you're looking for in the pre-owned, and they can drill down on exactly what it is you want. And once you find that vehicle, go test drive. Highway 61 in St. Francisville. It's a quick drive north from Baton Rouge. My wife and I went back a couple of months ago for a little anniversary getaway, and it's not far at all. So go check them out on Highway 61. If you're looking for a pre-owned vehicle, they've got it to match any budget. Fabry Chevrolet GMC, the entire inventory, new and pre-owned, is right there at FabryChevrolet.com.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms.
First American Bank and Trust, FABT.com, FABT.com. That's First American Bank and Trust. Look, they've been at this since 1910. That is 116 years in Southeast Louisiana. 25 locations, so there's always one near you, whether you're up I-12 in St. Tammany, Tangipahoa, maybe you're down the bayou in St. James, St. John, Lafourche. They got a location near you. If you're in Metairie, got one just outside of Baton Rouge and Dutchtown. They've got one there as well. So you got the local feel. And when they make a decision on a commercial loan, it's made in Southeast Louisiana. When they make a decision on a personal loan, it's made in Southeast Louisiana. When you bank with First American Bank and Trust and you make a call to your bank, you get someone in Southeast Louisiana. It's a local feel, but they've got the resources to back you with 25 locations throughout our state. It's First American Bank and Trust. Check them out online at FABT.com. All right, I checked today and looked at the schedule, because we got the first email for LSU fall camp, and I just kind of looked at days and looked at time of day, and because tonight I've not been to a night practice in my time covering LSU. I don't recall one. There may have been a night scrimmage or there have been some afternoon scrimmages, but a 6:30 p.m. practice I don't think I've ever covered. But I didn't look specifically at the periods we were watching, because I just didn't know. And I did look, and every single thing we got from the email suggests that we'll be looking at individual periods. So I don't think we're going to see any 7-on-7. I don't think we're going to see any 11-on-11. That's just for your edification to understand what you're going to be getting from us from a content perspective. And so I've got to now wrap my head around what can I see in individual periods that is worth talking about and writing about for LouisianaSports.net. And I decided for yesterday's practice, first one, I'm going 12 minutes, all Levitt, everything he got. And there will be other days where I do that again, because he's the most impactful player on this team. But now the question is what else is worth watching when you get 12 minutes of individual periods? And so I thought of some things that I may go look at tonight. One, I want to see if Trades Green and Jace Brown, once again, only work with Sam Levitt. I noticed that on, what's today, Thursday? On Wednesday. And I want to see if that's the case again. Those two potentially could be your top two pass catching options. If they spend all their time with Levitt, that was the reason that's on purpose. I do want to continue to look at the safety rotation because we saw that Jace Brown was out. Jace Thomas, second Jace of the segment. Jace Thomas was running first team with Ty Benefield. And that could be for any reason. Like, honestly, I saw some people very much look at that and go, well, I mean, obviously Cooley's gotten beaten out. How did that happen? Well, you could, one, be incentivizing Jace Thomas for a great summer of workouts. One, you could be lighting a fire under Cooley if there was something you didn't like he did. Two, what if you just wanted Tamarcus Cooley to be back there with the second team to tell all the secondary guys where they're supposed to be because he's been in the defense for a year? Like, there could be any reason why those two guys took the rotation that they did on day one. But, again, we were out there for the spring, and we noticed that Devin Harper was the left guard, and then one day Bo Bordelon was the left guard, and the next day Bo Bordelon was the left guard, and the next day Bo Bordelon was left guard, and then the 3 weeks had passed by, and Bo Bordelon was the left guard every day. And then we talked to Whit Weeks at SEC Media Days, and he said, yeah, Bo's, like, won that spot. That's awesome. Which you could lose it over the course of fall camp, but, like, there are some things you can take away from those 11-man periods, and I want to see if Jace Thomas is, in fact, kind of making a push there. Lane Kiffin was non-committal with his comments yesterday, which is fine. But I'm going to go check that out. You know who I'd like to see? I haven't really laid eyes on practicing at all in a year and a half. I'd like to see Solomon Thomas. So I'm going to go see where he's standing and whether or not he can practice. Because this time last year, he had a hurt foot, and he was on a bike. And then he didn't play at all as a true freshman, which you wouldn't figure. But he was a 5-star recruit. He didn't play as a freshman because he missed all of camp. And then we got out there in the spring, and he wasn't practicing again because he was hurt. So I don't know what's going on with Solomon Thomas. I don't know if he's any good. I don't even know what position he plays. I don't know if he's a left tackle or a right guard. Like, I have no idea. He never practices. But I'd like to see him. So I'm going to go see what Solomon Thomas is doing today. And then there are some guys that I want to take a look at as far as their physical size. I saw the running backs on Wednesday, but I didn't spend a lot of time with the running backs on Wednesday because I was watching Levitt. Well, we can stand right next to them. And so I will do that some over the course of the next 2 times we watch practice. And I'll see how Harlem Berry looks physically. He needs to be 10 pounds heavier than he was as a freshman. Maybe he already is. But he needs to be bigger and more physical. The running ability is great. He's fluid. He's got great speed. He's got all those things that you need in space to run the ball. But he does need to add some bulk. And I just want to see kind of what he looks like. I mentioned this earlier this week. I'd like to see what Haven Finney looks like from a size perspective. He was not running with the twos yesterday. Michael Turner had that spot, and Michael Turner's not going to win any bodybuilding competitions anytime soon. He's barely over 160 pounds, and he's been in the program for 2 years. But I want to see what Finney looks like because that's a guy that I think could add potential depth at the cornerback position based on his pedigree, his length, his ability that had him ranked as a top 3 corner in the country in his class, and by some, the top-ranked corner in his class before he reclassified to become a high school college freshman this year as opposed to when he should be a high school senior this year. But I want to see what he looks like. And that's like the majority of the stuff that I think I'm going to look like over the next two practices that I go to. I want to see if Weston Davis continues to work at right tackle. Maybe we don't get to see that if the offensive linemen don't do 5-man things. If they're just hitting the sleds, it's 1 over 1 over 1 over 1. But if they do line up in a 5-man in an individual drill to do some walkthroughs, that can be of some information to me to pass along to you. And I would like to see Landon Clark and Husan Longstreet be a little more accurate than they were yesterday. I didn't spend a lot of time talking to you about them yesterday, but they misfired a good bit yesterday. And that's okay. Like, it's the first day. It's the first day. You got some nerves. You're out there for the first time. It's hot. Dealing with new wide receivers. Those guys got a lot of reps in the spring. And I think there was a good reason that they came to LSU because they knew they would get a lot of those reps in the spring at a high-profile place with a couple of coaches in Lane Kiffin and Charlie Weiss Jr. who have been awesome quarterback developers over the years. And they got a lot of reps in the spring, but they're not going to get as many now. So they need to take advantage of the ones that they get. And let's be frank, like Sam Levitt is probably in his last year at LSU. And those guys are going to have an opportunity to earn the starting job at LSU at some point. I would bet on Longstreet before I bet on Clark, but it's possible. And look, they might both transfer, or they might both stay and a transfer comes in and beats them out. You never know this far out what next year's quarterback situation looks like. But those guys are right now very literally next man up. We know last year Garrett Nussmeier got hurt. We know Jaden Daniels left a couple of games in his 2 years as a quarterback. Sometimes you need a backup to step in. So I'll pay attention to those guys. I will stand by my rationale that oftentimes if a starting quarterback gets hurt, that's going to be a death sentence for a team long term. There just aren't enough teams that have quality backup quarterbacks to Cardale Jones your way to this thing, to Trinidad Chambliss your way to this thing. Like it's not unheard of. It's just not something you can lean on. But there is an opportunity for those guys to earn the backup role. And if Levitt is running and he is just coming off injury, you need to have another guy ready to go. So I'm going to watch those guys throw the ball a little bit. I can't accomplish all these things in 12 minutes. As I was talking to you yesterday, if I try to do all these things in 12 minutes, I'll have to spend 90 seconds on each. And that doesn't really give you much. 90 seconds is not a sample size that's going to generate a lot of content. So I've got to determine what we're doing. The good news is me and Matt can put 2 sets of eyes on it. So I'm going to send him probably to the offense today. I'll go check out some defense and then pay attention to some of the things I've got on this list. But for your information, we will have LSU at 6:35 tonight. We will be able to go see them. We are not allowed to report until after practice is over. We won't know when practice is over. So I guess they'll let us know when we're able to post. But if you want a practice report tonight, we will send it out at louisianasports.net. You can read it for free. I want to remind you all of this as well. I promise this does not get overwhelming. I promise. We don't even do one of these a week. Now, this time of year we might, but it's not a 3-time-a-day, 5-time-a-day thing. Download the 104.5 ESPN app. If you download that and enable notifications, we can send you notifications when LSU gets a football commitment, when LSU has a practice report that we've published, when LSU has a decommitment, a transfer portal addition. Big stuff that happens with the Saints have a season-ending injury, or the Saints, we send that stuff out via the app on notifications. So if you want the big stories sent to you instantly in real time, download the 104.5 ESPN app and enable the notifications, and we will certainly send you those as they're made available to us. So LSU tonight at 6:35. We'll be out there. We'll have a report up at louisianasports.net, and we'll be talking about it on tomorrow's show. Thursday's show is brought to you by Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. We'll step aside. 30 minutes to go. Come back with us.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Love telling you about my friends over at Ochsner, and they're always so helpful with the things that they can provide, both from an access and then with the healthcare they provide and the information as well. Families are getting ready for back to school. Ochsner is reminding parents that success in the classroom starts with overall wellness. That means checking in on your child's mental health, not just their grades. Pay attention to changes in their mood or behavior. Create time to connect and encourage open conversations about how they're feeling. Many Ochsner Health Centers offer both primary care and pediatric services at one location. So if you're looking to make things easier for families to coordinate care for everybody in the household, Ochsner can do that. Same-day appointment availability at many locations can help families address some unexpected health concerns quickly as kids return to school and the activities that go with that. They got convenient access to primary and pediatric care that can help families stay on top of annual wellness visits. If you're looking for more tips on helping your family start the school year healthy, safe, and ready to succeed, I invite you to visit ochsner.org/BR. That's ochsner.org/BR. I enjoy Ryan McGee's storytelling on ESPN. I think some of the stuff he does in game day with those short 30-second little intros, and he does some for the College World Series as well. I think they're really good, and I like the stuff he writes. And he put a story up today that I was scrolling through, and I was like, oh, okay. It was the ranking of college football's greatest supervillains of all time. That's a long time. And so I started to scroll through, and number 10 on the list was Caleb Williams. And I remember people didn't love Caleb Williams, transferred from Oklahoma to USC and cried into his mom's arms. And I okay, that's fine. Deion Sanders is number 9. Prime time. I mean, if you're not pulling for prime time, I can see where you wouldn't love it. A lot of dancing, a lot of showmen, got the jewelry going. I got it, but pretty good player. Tim Tebow. Now look, that's my college years, okay? And yes, Tim Tebow was the villain because he was so good. And he was intense, and he was fiery, and he was giving the gator chomp, and he was giving the speeches, and you had the eye black going, and he was winning games and running over people, and he's in the mud at Florida State, and like, okay, yeah, I mean, in real time, he's like the least villainous person ever. But like in college football terms, I get that he would be a big villain there at number 8. Number 7, he had ESPN, which I don't know about that. I don't feel that way. I know there are people that love to feel that way because this announcer hates my team and this announcer hates my team and this political lean I hate, and I don't have time for ESPN being in the supervillains. Notre Dame, I get too. They play by their own set of rules. We're special. You're not. We're not getting the conference. You can't make us. We're doing our own thing. If y'all have a BCS meeting, you have to invite us. What are you doing in the playoff? Write us in a clause. What about this New Year's Six Bowl? We need to be invited to that too. Well, ACC, we'll play in some of your sports, but like not football, but give us some of your sports. And you know what? Give me some of your teams we'll play every year, but not all the teams. Forget Notre Dame. It's just ridiculous that they play by their own set of rules. I get that one too. They're number 6. I'm on it with them. The 1990 Miami Hurricanes. How this is not number 1, I don't know. They were the villain. I wasn't around for this, but I certainly watched the U documentary. I certainly have seen Michael Irvin. I certainly have seen Jimmy Johnson. I certainly have seen what these guys were in college football, and they're villains to a T. So I think they should be higher on this list at number 5. The Boz is number 4. I've seen that 30 for 30 as well. You know, brash, brazen, big personality, mean, showman, the whole thing. Basically a professional wrestler transported into college football. I get it. That one makes a lot of sense at 4. Yeah, number 3, I get it. Johnny Manziel, villain. Money, money, money. Is he cheating? Is he not? Was he getting impermissible benefits? Then he's showing you he's getting impermissible benefits. Is his dad rich? Oh, he's not actually rich, but you told us he was rich. That's how he got all the money. Is he, on social media? Is he in Vegas with Drake? Texas A&M, the whole thing. Like, I get Johnny Manziel at number 3 as well. And then number 1, I skipped number 2. Number 1 is Steve Spurrier. Now, look, the old ball coach, he'll get on the microphone. He'll say, you always like to play Tennessee first couple of games because, they'll have somebody suspended. You can't play spell Citrus Bowl without UT. Georgia doesn't have any books in their library, the whole deal. Plus, he was running up the score on people. Well, if you don't like it, you need to stop us. I get that. And look, he inflicted a lot of pain on LSU. There's no question about that. It was my formative years. 1997 Florida game is one that burned into my brain. It's the one that set the hook on me for LSU forever. But I know he was a big villain to LSU and tortured LSU over the years. I get it. Number 2 on this list, between Manziel and Spurrier, is Lane Kiffin. Lane Kiffin, the second biggest villain in the history of college football. More than the 1990 Hurricanes, more than Boz, more than Notre Dame, more than Tim Tebow or Deion Sanders. Lane Kiffin, number 2 all time. And he goes through the laundry list. I fired Lane Kiffin from the Raiders. That's an Al Davis line. Tennessee, you get F. Lane Kiffin painted on the big rock. USC gets fired on the tarmac after the Sun Bowl. Nick Saban told him to get out of the building and go to Florida Atlantic for a national championship game. And then the craziness that went on with LSU and Ole Miss in November and December of last year. Then he goes into the segregation deal with Vanity Fair. I get it. And I don't disagree with this. I've said this from the start. Right now, moving forward, LSU is absolutely going to wear the black hat in football and men's basketball. Because nobody outside Baton Rouge likes Lane Kiffin right now. Nobody outside likes Will Wade at all. And honestly, you're wearing a little bit of a black hat. It's probably got a lot of sparkles on it, but you're wearing a little bit of black hat in women's basketball because most people don't like Kim Mulkey either. And you know what? Who cares? Who cares? As long as these guys are not breaking the law and they're just, to the outside world, unlikable, who cares? Now, if it becomes a recruiting problem, all right. If it becomes an issue breaking the rules where you're punished by the NCAA or the SEC or the powers that be, okay, and we've gone through that with Will Wade once. But who cares? What you've got are really good coaches. And what you've got are really good coaches that the country doesn't like. And I've talked about this previously. Lane Kiffin, I believe, desires approval. I believe he wants people to like him. I don't know Lane Kiffin. I've never spoken to Lane Kiffin. Never interviewed him. Never asked him a question. Never shaken his hand. I was in the room when he came in Tampa to meet with the local media. I didn't ask a question. I was in the room when he did the big ballroom at Tampa. But his introductory press conference when I was sitting here on the air, and then he didn't talk at practice, and they always have press conferences when I can't be there because I'm on doing the show. I never talked to him. I don't know him at all. But I believe from what I've heard and read that he wants approval. And if he does, then two things have to happen. I've mentioned this back in the summer, but the summer is not our most listened to time of year. If he wants approval and he wants people to look and go, he's probably right, which is unlikely, but if he wants that to happen, he needs to win big at LSU. Big. But that's only half of it. Ole Miss has got to fall off. If Ole Miss goes 8-4 this year and 7-5 the next year and 4-8 the next year, because Pete Golding wasn't the guy for the job and they don't recruit to the level they need to and their offense can't score under John David Baker and they fall off a cliff, and LSU soars to heights, then everybody will go, oh, well, he was right. He was propping up Ole Miss. He thought that this was his chance to get to LSU. He hated that he had to leave a championship caliber team on their march toward a championship, but he knew the long-term play was always going to be at LSU, so that's why he left. It sucked at the time. It was a messy exit, but there was no real clean way to do it because Ole Miss wasn't going to let him coach. He had to go, and then it was right because Ole Miss has a ceiling and LSU doesn't. That's the only way people are going to ease off of this. And oh, by the way, he'll have to stop making crazy remarks on Twitter. He'll need to stop doing Vanity Fair stuff and just brag on LSU and leave Ole Miss in the past. Now, what are the odds of all that stuff happening? I don't know. Everyone's opinion's different. I think that he's going to win a lot of games at LSU. Championships are hard to forecast, but I think he's going to win a lot of games at LSU. And I think I would sell Ole Miss football stock right now. Not because it's going to plummet, because I don't think they're going 11-1 this year. And I don't think they're going 11-1 next year. And I don't think they're going to be in the semifinals of the college football playoff anytime soon. That's my opinion. Could be dead wrong. Didn't think Indiana was going to national championship 2 years ago, and here we are. But that's my opinion. But I also think Lane is going to get back on social media, and I think he's going to make comments, and I think he's going to say things that rub people the wrong way. And as long as that doesn't impact LSU, who cares here in Baton Rouge? Show me the scoreboard. Show me the scoreboard. That's it. And I think the scoreboard is going to reflect positively on LSU as time goes on. But yes, he is a villain. But the only reason you've got to care about that in Baton Rouge is if it impacts recruiting. And based on people that you talk to in that building that have played for him, that have coached for him, that have interviewed him, that have seen him in action behind closed doors, the guy on Twitter and the guy in press conferences is not necessarily the same as the guy who does the recruiting. He has a way of turning it on when he needs to. And I think that's evidenced in the guys that LSU is able to bring in. Now, they're throwing a lot of money around, and that helps too. But it sounds like he's not necessarily the villain all the time. It's just kind of when he chooses to be. But if you're looking for the court of public opinion to do a 180 on Lane Kiffin, don't hold your breath. But if you feel like it doesn't matter because he's going to win a lot of football games here, then you're in line with me. And I think he's going to be just fine. By the way, the number one guy on this list is Steve Spurrier. How'd he do? Won a national title, revolutionized the Southeastern Conference, was incredible at South Carolina, all the while being a guy that everybody didn't really like because he was brash and arrogant and scored a bunch of points and didn't care what people thought. So Will Wade doesn't care if people think. He's just going to recruit and put teams together. And I don't think Kiffin does either. I don't think the LSU fans do either. I think the excitement level's through the roof in this town to see what Lane Kiffin can do in Baton Rouge. So that's a look at Ryan McGee's all-time villains in the history of college football with Lane Kiffin, number 2 behind Steve Spurrier. Thursday show is brought to you by Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. We'll come back and wrap it up. Can you lose the press conference? You can. It happened today. We'll tell you about it next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
GoTro's Outdoor Power, GoTrosOnline.com, GoTrosOnline.com. Look, get on by in August. Into the summer means clearance sale. And so if you're looking for a zero-turn mower, GoTro's Outdoor Power has you covered. Up to $1,000 off select Gravely, Skag, and Hustler zero-turns, and 0.0 financing is available as well. Again, up to $1,000 off select Gravely, Skag, and Hustler zero-turn mowers, and a 0% financing agreement available as well. 2 locations, Airline Highway in Baton Rouge. You'll see the huge orange inventory, biggest Hustler inventory in the state right there. You can check them out in Gonzales as well. The GoTro family has been at this for 22 years. If you've got a property to manage, if your lease on your mower is coming up, or you need a new one, or you've just gotten a new property that you got to maintain, and you need that new zero-turn mower as the summer comes to a close, it's one call, one visit. It's GoTro's Outdoor Power. They're online at GoTrosOnline.com.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms.
Thursday shows brought to you by Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. I'm going to give you Sean Sagrera's number at the end of this read. So if you want to change the way you buy your beef, get that phone out and get ready to save it. Because Sagrera Farms has got some of the best beef in the country. Sean has mastered this craft. It started as a labor of love. It's actually turned into a bit of a business, but he's just really good at it. And the Palmers have a lot of Sagrera Farm beef in the freezer currently. It's changed the way we do beef. You know that herd levels are the lowest since the 60s, and the population has obviously grown since then. So you've got a supply and demand issue, and that has driven up the price of beef. So if you're paying premium price, why not get a premium product? Prime Angus beef from Sagrera Farms. Never going to be using antibiotics improperly, never going to be using steroids. And when you buy half a cow, a whole cow, quarter cow, you're getting one DNA. Do you know how many DNA are in that pack of beef that you buy? Could be thousands. Not at Sagrera Farms, it's one. And it's going to be prime every single time. That IMF score, 0 to 3, you're looking at select. That's the bottom of the barrel. That choice, which is 60% of beef, is 3 to 8 on that scale. Anything north of 8, 9 plus, is prime. Sean's got cows on the farm right now, 12, 14, 16, 18. And there's only 2 places to get it. Supper Club or Sagrera Farms. So call Sean, 225-719-1723. That's 225-719-1723. And ask him about that beef. Go see the farm. It'll change the way you do burgers, change the way you do steaks, ribeyes, fillets, strips, flank steaks, skirt steaks, picanhas, chuck roasts, briskets. All prime. It's awesome stuff. Sagrera Farms brings you our Thursday shows each and every day. Sagrera Farms, Premium Angus Beef. All right, as I mentioned in the last segment, or 2 segments ago, I should say, LSU practices 6:35 tonight. You can catch our practice report up at LouisianaSports.net tonight. We'll talk about it on tomorrow's show. Preston Guy will stop by as well. The Saints have a day off tomorrow, so we will catch up with them tomorrow, and then you can catch Ross Jackson's practice reports up at LouisianaSports.net as well. They are incredibly detailed and always free. So appreciate him for making those happen, and y'all for checking them out at the rate that you have. Been a fun show. There's only one thing left to do, and that's take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it. Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Today's hottest stories in sports, news, and sometimes even Hunt's life. The question is, will he take them or leave them?
Just take it or leave it.
Let's hear from Purdue's new athletic director here, because I've heard this sound and I just wanted to play it in this segment. So keep in mind, Purdue hired a new AD. He took the podium. And if you're not aware, Purdue and Indiana are huge rivals. So this is Purdue's athletic director somehow, some way, finding a way to lose the press conference.
Every recruit, every current student athlete will hear this message repeatedly. We are here to win championships. If you don't want to win championships, go to Indiana.
Oh, no. I'm going to leave that one.
Leave it alone.
Right where it is.
Yeah, I'm about to say, I was just going to let it just breathe.
I just don't what in the world are you talking about? I understand.
Purdue.
When you take a job, you want to throw in something. If you take the Ohio State job, we're coming for Michigan.
Yeah, you got to hype the crowd up. Yeah, hype the fan base.
Paul Maneri, I watched his introductory press conference at South Carolina.
Yeah.
He said, good thing I'm here in the low country instead of upstate, which is a shot at Clemson.
Okay.
It's something they tell you to do when you take the job, okay? Yeah. But do it in a different way. If you're Purdue, your basketball team's been better than Indiana's for a while.
Yeah.
Talk about that. You cannot say if you don't want to win championships, go to Indiana when they just completed the most improbable football season in the history of the sport, went 15-0, boat raced everybody in their path. You just look like a clown. You look so bad. This was supposed to be a shot at Indiana, and now Indiana can just look at you and go, what are you, an idiot?
Yeah, we're not on the same level
Are
no
you
more.
an idiot? That is unbelievably tone deaf. You get a layup at this press conference.
Yeah.
No one is going to ask you a difficult press conference at the AD's press conference. It's a complete layup, and he just fell flat on his face. That is unbelievable.
I don't even want to say a layup. It feels like he's got blocked off the glass. Like he went up with the layup and he's got swatted off the rim like LeBron or something.
Just awful.
Polish swimmer Bartholomew Klopczak,
good try.
Has become the first person to cross the Baltic Sea without swimming or taking a break, raising more than $2,500,000 for charity. He started his track back on July 31st and completed the journey in 55 hours later. He has become the first person to swim 160 kilometers, basically 99 miles, across the Baltic Sea from Sweden to Poland. So swimming 99 miles with no breaks, take it or leave it.
I'll take it.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I meant to leave it, but I was too concerned, honestly, with that is scary.
Yeah.
Not only is it impossible for me to even consider doing that and swimming that far is terrifying. There's some stuff in the ocean.
Yeah.
I don't want any part of that. So
you don't know
I'm
what's
glad
below
that he
you.
raised $250K, and that's something he can take with him forever, that he's the first guy to do that. I'm out on all that. I don't even want to jump in the water and then climb out.
You know how cold that water probably was, though?
I'm out.
I'll
I'll swim in the lake. I'm not scared of, I don't harbor fear of sharks when I go out there in Destin or wherever. Swimming 99 miles in the wide open ocean.
No help.
That ain't happening.
No help, no type of life vest, nothing. You're just out there. So LSU great. Odell Beckham Jr. strung together his second straight strong day at practice today with the New York Giants as Odell's trying to revive his career with the Giants. So can OBJ add some value to the receiver room for the Giants? Take it or leave it.
I'll take it. He's going to be cheap, and if you're going to cut him, cut him. There could be value. I'm not suggesting it's a guarantee.
Yes.
But it's worth a try. He's obviously been in the league a while. As long as he's not, doing anything crazy, which Odell can do at times. I think it's fine.
And Malik's still there, so a little LSU connection.
Flavor, we like that.
All right, so Country Day School of Baton Rouge, take it or leave it.
Take it all day long. Big day for the Palmer family. 4.5 years ago, Alyssa went to work for the first time after having Myers, and we dropped Myers' man at Country Day School there on North, and she cried a lot, and it was the first day. And he's been there 4.5 years, and it has been an absolute joy. And today is his last day at Country Day School. We start big boy school tomorrow with the meet and greet, and then on Tuesday he'll start. So no more daycare for the Myers man, but it's been just incredible. Thankfully, Keller is there for the next couple of years as well. But started in Miss Reva's room, Miss D's room, Miss Frida's room, Miss Valentina's room, Miss Maritz's room, Miss Alicia's room, Miss Faith's room. Just an incredible school that's taken care of our boy over the years, and we're so appreciative of that. It's tough to leave your kiddo in the supervision of other people. And it's been an incredible blessing in Myers' life and ours life to have them. So sad day in a way today that he'll leave for the last time. I'm about to go pick him up, and we'll take pictures and all that. We took pictures this morning. Alyssa and I wore the same clothes. It's the same day that we dropped Myers for the first time. But it'll be a good day. We'll still be going back every day to drop Keller off and pick him up. But Myers will be done with Country Day School, and we just thank them a ton. And I wanted to give them a little shout out on this small little platform I have here for an incredible 4+ years with the Myers man. He'll head on off to big school, but Country Day's got a special place in our heart and always will. Still a couple more years for Keller, but shout out to the Myers man and Country Day School. I wanted to do that at the end of the show. So that's it for Take It or Leave It.
That's it.
Awesome. That's it for our show today here on this Thursday. We're brought to you by Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. Open the show today with some sound from Lane Kiffin just talking about Sam Levitt and his ramp up this year as he gets into his first and really probably only camp at LSU. Luke Johnson with us from Saints Camp. You can find that at Hunt on Saints. Talked about the Ole Miss lawsuit against Prince William Unmiel and Devin Harper and how I've changed my tune on that just a little bit. Where's Easton Royal headed coming up this fall? Well, we talked about that at the end of hour number 1. A little bit of sound from Kellen Moore and what I'm looking for at practice tonight. All that on demand wherever you find your sound. Hunt Palmer Show. Matt's going to drive you home on AFR. See you tomorrow.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
One Bath and Closets. OneBathAndClosets.com is the website. David Duvall and his team, 30 years redesigning and remodeling bathrooms and closets. A closet space is not something I really considered at all when I bought my first house. And I didn't care until the girlfriend, fiance, then to be wife moved in and goes, "What are we doing here? Where do we put all the stuff?" Like, I didn't know. Turns out we had stuff crammed into closets in the hallway, stuff crammed into the attic, stuff in boxes, stuff in the kids' room. So we didn't call One Bath and Closets because we knew we were moving. But you don't have to move to revitalize your closet space. And when we did prioritize closet space in the move, it's been a total game changer. If you want a custom closet built to your specifications that looks great and functions exactly the way you need it to, call David Duvall. It might be that time into summer to make that call and make that happen. Have that free consultation. Financing options are available. Check them out online. It's One Bath and Closets. You can find them online at onebathandclosets.com.